The level of idiotic tribal partisan shit where you're just going to defend your side no matter what. It is, as far as a video of a killing goes, it's about as bad as they come, like as far as what it looks like right now. And I say that with some degree of humility, like maybe more information comes out, but they haven't even made a claim like the guy was going for one of the guns of the officers or something like that, and that's why they lit him up. Instead, what the government and then a whole bunch of right-wing pundits have done is just repeat utter bullshit about what actually happened.
Dave Smith just weighed in on this shooting of Alex Pretti in Minneapolis by a Border Patrol agent. I offer my perspective as a Minnesotan and as a concealed carry instructor in the state. Let's get into it.
You don't want to, like, I don't know, you don't want to jump to conclusions if there's more information that you could gather. But look, that video in Minnesota the other day, from what we see, looks about as bad as it could look. You know, like this isn't even the one from a couple weeks earlier where the chick tries to drive out and there's at least a little bit of a bit. I mean, what we see in the video, what you have there so far is essentially we got okay, you got the Pretti guy. He's in the street, and then an ICE agent starts walking him back, and he's retreating. He's walking back, and he walks back to the sidewalk. The man then shoves a woman in a way that, like, I mean, look, we don't know exactly what preceded that, but you better, any law enforcement, you have a damn good reason to fucking ever put your hands on a woman like that. I mean, it was a shove where it's like, yo, dude, she could have cracked her head and died on the sidewalk. Like, and I don't care. I'm sorry. That is law enforcement's job. I don't know what the situation was there, but you better have a damn good reason for ever doing that. And I got to say, again, I'll maintain, we don't know, maybe more information will come out. But from all the videos that I have seen, and I know you've seen a bunch of them too, Rob, this is the type of shit I'm seeing them do. Go around escalating situations where it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you should always be trying to de-escalate unless there is a really good reason for why this was the only way to handle it. But so immediately what you see is they shove this woman on the ground. He goes to reach for her. They, like, I'm going to say pepper spray, but it's like bear spray, whatever, that big canister or some crazy chemicals. It's like literally the shit you use to bring a bear down. They spray him in the face with that. Then immediately 7 guys are on him. While you see the officer take his gun out of his waist. While they're doing that, Rob, if you're watching the video, there's a bunch of guys on him. The guy in the front is pounding on him as the guy is. Yeah. Now, also, by the way, Rob, we have the audio of this. No one is screaming, "You're under arrest, stop resisting," or anything like that. It's not even clear whether or not they're trying to arrest the guy. Then after they're beating him, they've pepper sprayed him. They got at least 7, 8 guys on him. They disarm him. They take his gun, and then some agent just starts shooting and puts like 9 bullets in him, or shoots like 9 bullets. Okay, Rob, just on the face of it, anybody seeing that who you immediately knee-jerk to defend them, where you're like, dude, I mean, look, maybe some more information will come out that will make this somewhat more defensible. But it's just like the level of idiotic tribal partisan shit where you're just going to defend your side no matter what. It is, as far as a video of a killing goes, it's about as bad as they come.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I did a video yesterday, and you can go check it out on my YouTube channel. And I kind of took the many different angles that are available and broke down what we see. And so I think Dave Smith's characterization of the events are pretty accurate. So I don't want to show the killing because that's where I think a lot of people are like, that just doesn't seem justifiable. But I want to discuss the events that led up to the shooting. And so I'm going to show you right now with a little commentary the events, the first angle that I used yesterday. All right, here's the video, and I'm going to do some pausing here so you can kind of see the context here. This gentleman in the brown and very skinny is Alex Pretti, the guy that gets shot. So let's start it here. Oh, this is courtesy of Drop Site News, by the way. You see that's the ICE operation there. He's standing in the middle of the road. I think he's signaling for a vehicle to keep coming. Obviously, this isn't helpful. But he is filming, and you do have the legal right to film. I mean, we should be defending the legal right to film our government.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, right there. Now, I think we got to stop here. We don't see, she takes her phone away, but you do, so you don't see like maybe a couple seconds, but it does seem like at some point he's kind of helping a woman here. We don't know what happened. Maybe taking her away. And then you see, and this is the shove that Dave Smith talks about, this really nasty shove of this woman. And once again, we don't know the context, so we do need to know what that is. But I can imagine seeing a woman being shoved by me, and that'd probably be my reaction, is to go help her out. Pretty violent shove. And so I don't see him punching. I don't see him being violent. I'm probably like, get away. And that's where he gets hit with this spray. See, right away, getting sprayed. And then the way I look at this, and my background, I was an infantry officer in the U.S. Army. I got deployed to Kosovo. We did non-lethal training. And part of that training is you got sprayed by whatever the concoction is, the pepper spray they use in the military. I can't remember what they called it. CS? Is it C? Well, whatever. And we'd be sprayed like 18 inches from our face, across and back. And then we'd have to do this obstacle course. And the idea behind that is we had non-lethal in Kosovo, and they wanted to make sure that we could operate and do things, even though we were, in this state of chaos. That was what happened to trained soldiers. And a lot of them actually, I saw soldiers firsthand, not really able to do the obstacle course. I think it was like baton takedowns of assailants or whatever it was. And some just freaked out because they don't know what that's like. And you kind of have to learn that through training. So I kind of think all bets are off once he gets sprayed. He gets sprayed here. So he's like trying to help this woman. And then you'll see he's like grabbing her, but you don't think he's trying to be violent towards her. And then, all of a sudden he's being wrestled to the ground. And you can go to my video yesterday to see it. But eventually it leads to them disarming him. We see that from many different angles. And then you see him being shot in the back and then being shot multiple times, including when he's on the ground, basically lifeless. Okay, this is what I love about Dave Smith and why I think he's a great value to new media. He kind of leaves himself an out here. Maybe there's some new information and we might have a different opinion of the whole circumstance. I'm not going to say that we are going to change your opinion on this because we all saw that shooting and it doesn't seem justified. But it's the afternoon of January 27th, and this story just broke this morning.
Alex Pretti had a physical encounter with federal agents about a week before he was shot and killed by law enforcement. Sources tell CNN that Pretti broke a rib when a group of federal officers tackled him while he was protesting. Priscilla Alvarez is breaking that story for us. What else are you hearing, Priscilla?
Dana, we're learning more details along with my colleague Jeff Winter about what exactly transpired a week before Alex Pretti was shot in Minneapolis and died this past weekend. Now, in this earlier incident, he stopped his car after observing ICE agents chasing what he described as a family on foot and began shouting and blowing his whistle. Pretti later told one of these sources that 5 agents tackled him and one leaned on his back, appearing to leave him with a broken rib. According to this source, and I'm quoting here, that source said, quote, that day he thought he was going to die. Now, Pretti was later given medication that is consistent with treating a broken rib, according to records reviewed by CNN. Sources also say that he was known to federal law enforcement, though it's unclear whether it was this incident or another with federal agents that they knew of him. It's also unclear whether the officers who tackled him on Saturday knew who he was. What we do know, however, is that federal immigration officers have been collecting personal information of protesters and agitators within the context of what the Department of Homeland Security has warned is repeated threats towards officers as they are conducting immigration enforcement operations. In fact, just Tuesday, the department also publicized an online tip form to share information about people allegedly harassing ICE officers. We've also heard Tom Homan, the White House border czar, say that a database would be created for those who are arrested for impeding law enforcement. But thus far, in our queries to the Department of Homeland Security, they have said that no such database exists.
Okay, so that's fascinating. That's a new wrinkle in the story. Did law enforcement know who he was? Were they already suspicious that he was going to interrupt or impede law enforcement operations? Here's the problem. The government didn't tell us that on Saturday, and I don't think they've told us really since then that they were tracking this individual, and that was the reason they operated the way that they did. And this is where I think Dave Smith does a great job. He really takes down what's frustrating to a lot of us, the lies coming out of the Department of Homeland Security and, in this case, Kash Patel at the FBI. Let's listen.
But they haven't even made a claim like the guy was going for one of the guns of the officers or something like that, and that's why they lit him up. Instead, what the government and then a whole bunch of right-wing pundits have done is just repeat utter bullshit about what actually happened. You know, any thoughts on this, Rob?
Well, I guess the two claims that I've seen to try and justify it is one that he actually, I think branded is the term, which essentially brandish the weapon, which is basically, you know, it's like the mob movies when you're standing and you're guarding the thing. It's kind of like when the Godfather, yeah, when he tries to pretend like he's got the gun to scare people off. I have yet to see a video that showcases that interaction.
Well, but brandishing it isn't just that. That's like that. What Michael Corleone did is like bluffing. So brandishing refers to pulling it out and letting it be seen.
No, I think if it's in your holster and like you pull up to show you got a gun there.
If you show it, show the gun. Yes, that's true. Okay, fine. But again, we've seen no evidence of that.
We've seen no evidence of that.
Just been asserted.
Okay, and we'll get to the video really quickly about brandishing a firearm, which is Kash Patel's statement. There are also statements from Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino, that says he approached law enforcement with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol as if he was, holding the firearm, but he wasn't. And the video is very clear. It was holstered. It was on his person. What we do know at this point was he was a concealed carry, he was a Minnesota permit to carry holder. So he was legally carrying that firearm according to Minnesota laws. They also talk about the 2 magazines with ammunition in them, which, by the way, what good is a magazine if it doesn't have ammunition? And he also has that right to carry it. And then I hear people in the right-wing circles go, but he didn't have an ID. Well, under Minnesota law, you are required to have your ID and your permit to carry on your person while you're carrying. And if you don't, it's a petty misdemeanor with a $25 fine that if you go to the law enforcement agency that gave you that fine or the courts and show proof of your permit to carry, that fine is waived. And so there's no petty misdemeanor. So that's a really lame one to go after. It's like driving, your vehicle and you forgot your wallet at home. Oh, okay. You do need an ID while you drive your vehicle, but sometimes you just don't have it on you. Now, was there a nefarious reason why he didn't have his ID? We don't know at this point, but that's kind of a bad argument to make. So really what he was doing was a lawful carry of a firearm in the state of Minnesota according to the laws. Now, let's talk about the Kash Patel statement, and let's get into that.
But like in the same situation, you just see people saying like, oh, this is why you don't pull a gun on law enforcement and assault them and blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, but none of that happened. Like, that's just not. And then, I mean, some of the other claims, I mean, here we could go into some of them. Well, I guess let's think about the order of this here. Let's do the Kash Patel video first. Because here's what to me, this should be grounds for Kash Patel to be terminated from any government position, let alone the one that he has, being the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. This is insane this is insane that any educated American would ever say this. But the head of a federal law enforcement agency saying this is just unbelievable. Let's play the clip.
I mean, thousands of people are marching through Minneapolis. They are targeting the Border Patrol. I mean, it feels like the rhetoric and the protesting is only ramping up. What is your advice to the people right now who are outraged that this is a second killing at the hands of Border Patrol in 2 weeks?
As Christy said, you cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence. We will, of course, always protect your First Amendment speech. And if you peacefully protest, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you have seen a trend here, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, in these protests turning into violent scenarios and people attacking law enforcement. That's when you go over the line, and that's when law enforcement steps in.
Well, you know, I mean, thousands of people.
Yeah, that's not fucking true. Like, that's just completely made up. And what did the head of the FBI just say that we'll protect your First Amendment rights as long as you give up the Second Amendment rights? Is that his claim here? His claim is that you're not allowed to bring a gun to a protest?
Okay, Dave is right on this, and I'm glad he's calling out Kash Patel. What Kash Patel is saying is not true at all. You definitely have a right to carry a firearm at a protest in Minnesota, as long as you have a permit to carry, which is good for 5 years. It requires you to do some training. I'm a carry instructor, so I know this very well. So, and from everything we've seen, Alex Pretti had a permit to carry, okay? So he is lawfully carrying at a protest, and anyone that wants to deny that is denying what happens at pretty much every Second Amendment rally at the Minnesota State Capitol. This happens every year. You can actually carry on Capitol grounds in Minnesota, right? As long as you have a permit to carry, you're able to do that. So what is he talking about? What's Kash Patel talking about? Now, there's no evidence that we've seen, other than this video, that he was attacked by ICE last week. So we'll wait for more stories to come out on that. But there's no evidence that we've seen he was there to go beyond protesting and assault law enforcement agents. And if he did that and he was carrying a firearm, then it becomes a problem. But that's not what we see in the video. And it's really sad to see people on the supposed right, like Kash Patel, tell us these stories, tell us these fibs that are really sounding anti-gun. The fact that he had 2 magazines with ammunition in it. It's like, yes, he also has that right. I believe he has that right, God-given right, protected by the Second Amendment, but further protected under Minnesota law. It's 624.714. He has that right to carry a pistol, actually open carry or concealed carry. In this case, he was concealed carry, and he has the right to carry extra magazines with ammunition. One last thing I want to say, there are talking heads on the left and talking heads on the right. Lots of propaganda, lots of lies out there. From a perspective of Minnesotan, the silent majority here in this state kind of sees things the same way Dave Smith sees it. There was something really messed up with that shooting, and people think that ICE and the DHS are going a little too far in some of these operations, not protecting the rights of citizens. I did a video on that as well. But at the same point, we should be enforcing our immigration laws, and the left has just been unreasonable on that. But I want to know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Dave Smith? Leave a comment in the comment section. And if you enjoy my content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.